Hello YouTube. This is Bela Mage again, coming you an update with our Pulverise Druid. Turns out, we and everybody I can find has been making some pretty big mistakes with Pulverise, including my last video on this, which was also making the same mistake everyone else does, which is two-handed weapons. Turns out, two-handed weapons, absolute bait. We should never have been using two-handed weapons. I did hit level 90. You can see some footage in the background where we're running some decently high maps. I've been doing anything from mob level 95 to about 108, which is much higher than I should be doing when I'm in the background footage here. I'm in the high 80s. Like, it's much higher than I should have been doing. The build has become a lot smoother, a lot more pulverized, and a lot less using our builder, and it would only get better from here if I was going to continue playing it. I am enjoying this build so much I would easily bring it to 100. However, there's not that much time left before the start of the first season, and I do want to play a little bit of every class, so this is going to be the final update on the Druid, but I will point out some things about where I would go if I was going to continue with the change, and how I would have done it differently if I'm going to do it again. So let's jump in game, and we'll go over real quick some of the changes. All right, here we are in game, and remember, if you like these videos, please press the little like button, leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm guides. That is how we all get paid. YouTube algorithm gods need to be fed. So, big change. Big change is coming off our two-handed weapon. Now, very easy to understand why people were using a two-handed weapon, and it's because this pulverize power, which is the main source of our damage. This power alone and the use of pulverize, probably, 92% of our damage, right? Like, this is all of the damage, so it makes sense to be like, oh, I really want pulverize to be on a two-handed weapon so that it's double power, so that I get 200% instead of 150. This makes sense. It absolutely got me too. I don't blame anyone for doing it that way. That's absolutely the way that makes sense. You can also see we've got 10,000 life now, which is huge. But moving on from that, turns out 150% pulverize is better. So what's happened is I've put the 150 on my amulet instead of the 200 on my weapon. The weapon gets Grizzly Rage. I wish I had a 5-second version of this instead of a 4, but this is fine. We reset the cooldown to Grizzly Rage pretty often. It's almost always up anyway, so this isn't a big deal. And what we get, again, if I was going to keep playing, I would look for a better version of this power. This is a min-rolled power that I put on because I needed to test the theory, but you get an extra power. And the extra power you get is this one. Your core skills deal up to 20 to 40% increased damage based on the amount of fortify. Well, we always have fortify. We always have absolutely tons of fortify. So if we had a two-handed weapon and we had by an increase of 200%, including its base, that's 3, 1 for its base, 200%, we'll deal 300 damage for every 100 damage, right? However, if we have 100 base damage and we only have the amulet, which gives us 150 instead of 150 instead of 200, so it'll be 2.5 instead of 3, including the base. That gives us only 250 damage. Well, that makes sense. That all tracks. Now you get this power. Let's assume we have a good rolled power. Your core skills deal 40% more damage. So we can times that by 1.4. That gives us an actual hit of 350 instead of 300 with the two-handed weapon. Now that's percent. It is worth noting one-handed weapons are a little bit weaker than two-handed weapons. So this basically just roughly cancels that out. My individual hits are ballpark the exact same amount of damage they were before. So the benefit that I get is I get way more attack speed with these being 1.1 bases. I can now roll attack speed and I get more spirit cost reduction and more lucky hit. These are the two important things here. So more lucky hit gets us more chances to regenerate all of our spirit and more chances to guarantee crit for 5 seconds, which is what our, is it this one? No, this is the one that reduces the ultimate. It is based on this ability. Damaging enemies with an earth skill, 5% chance or 15 if it's a crit or the target's stunned or immobilized or knocked down. Chance to restore all spirit and cause your attacks to be guaranteed critical strike for 5 seconds. So we attack way faster and we're proccing this more. So what I would like to do, on top of the more spirit cost reduction, the idea is to get the cost of Pulverize down as low as I possibly can. I theorize that I can get the cost down to about 21 with really good rolls. The other things that I would like to do is I would like to replace a little bit of my critical strike chance in different places with lucky hit instead. And I also would like to get some attack speed and lucky hit on amulets, or not amulets, gloves on these things. Basically, that's the change I would make. I would put a little less emphasis on getting critical strike chance myself and a little more emphasis on getting lucky hit. Now that I'm attacking fast and also a bunch of attack speed. Now that I'm attacking much faster, lucky hit having a 5-second window instead of a amount of attacks window. That means that my crit chance itself, not as important if I can just proc guaranteed crits all the time. We're already getting a ton of crit multi from Grizzling Rage, so we don't actually need to have a buttload of crit chance ourselves. It's still not a bad stat, and you still want to be critting to have that extra chance, so I don't want to like strip all the crit out of the build, but what I do want is way more attack speed and way more lucky hit than I have previously gone for in this build. That is the biggest change that I would make. The other thing, I will have a full D4 builds linked in the description this time, but just really quickly, in case you're coming from the other video to watch this update, the other change that was made was we found out exactly how worthless resistances are, and so I pulled those 2 points out because resistances mean literally nothing in this game and you might as well not have them anywhere. Every single roll is worthless, pretend it doesn't exist. So I pulled those out and we ended up putting 1 extra point in here for a little bit of increased damage, and then the extra point I'm actually not entirely sure what to do with. There were 2 options. In my head there were 2 options. I could increase the amount of fortify I get from all sources by 5%, or increase the amount of healing I get from all sources by 5%. I went for healing. I've swapped it between healing and fortify. I can't tell the difference. I seem immortal either way. If you can find something better to spend this last point on, feel free. I've got nothing. I did consider just putting more in Bulwark, but again, that's defense, and this character just hasn't died. There's no more I can put in here. I could put 1 extra in my builder, but I barely have to use that at all. The only other thing I could think of is maybe putting 1 in here so it summons a second Earth Spike. I'm assuming that would also give me a second Earth Spike's worth of spirit back, so when I do have to use my builder, if it happens to be immobilized or stunned, I would build quicker. I could put it in there for base health, fortify, but like I said, the character's already practically immortal. I could potentially just put it in 3 max spirit here to give me like a slightly longer window to get another chance at proccing my lucky hit and filling my spirit bar back up so I don't have to do it again. I'm really not sure what to do with that last point, to be honest. Either way, you don't need it. Build's way too strong. The one other change I made is that I changed my, I don't know what you call this, my spirit bonding. I was using crit chance and crit damage. I'm now only using crit chance. I'm very tempted to try out attack speed instead. I've been trying both. It's really hard for me to tell which one's better. I suspect it might actually be attack speed. But for right now, I'm leaving it on crit because I'm not 100% sure. And I know crit works well, but play around a little yourself with that. I think attack speed might actually just be better. And I've changed my bonding down to here so that I can get critical strikes while shapeshift heal you, because that's where most of my healing comes from. And also, nature magic skills have a 10% chance to reduce the cooldown of your ultimate. This has become a little more important since changing to a one-hand, because my Grizzly Rage is extended by 5 seconds instead of 8, so it does run out slightly quicker. So I like the idea of just putting it back up much quicker, and it does come up quite quick. Okay quick if you're single target the whole time, very quick during clear. So those are the differences. That is everything. I do have an entire max roll planner here, which I will link in the description. The one thing that I will go over in the video is the Paragon board real quick. This hasn't changed much since the last video, except I've got more levels. What I do want to point out is that this board here, I've put in Constricting Tendrils, and I have put in Fang and Claw as the glyph. I'm actually not sure about this last one at all. This needs I need way more sets of eyes to work this out. This is my least excitable board, but it is also the last board. I didn't get this until level 90, and I'm pretty damn confident about the rest of it. It's just this last board. There's not that many points, and there's not that many glyphs left. All the big glyphs that were really good, I've already got. So I feel like I'm scraping the barrel a little bit for the last glyph, and I'm not entirely sure that it's worth it over, say, there's a whole bunch of rare nodes on my other boards that are pretty good, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe I should be heading to some of those instead of going to a last board. But in order, your starter board, really good. I went straight into Ancestral Guidance and put what is this one? Undaunted in there. My starter board had Spirit. My third board had Exploit. I didn't feel the need to rush Exploit, but Vulnerability is very strong. So as soon as you get here in the board, it's really not that many points to get here. And this would also be my first one that I max out. The one other thing I'll mention about the D4 builds here is that I don't actually know how to level up these glyphs in the builder. So these glyphs should all be level 15 as quick as possible, and they actually get one more row than is displayed here. It's very easy to see in game. It goes out one more. I can't find the way to level them in this builder. Assume they're leveled. They'll have one more thing out here. Yeah. All right. So that one was good. We rushed over here and got that. Survival Instincts. That was quite nice. And then this board, I'm also pretty sure about. This is quite nice. Crowd controlled enemies get 30% more damage. And then this is really nice. This is Werebear. You might be tempted to take Werebear much earlier, but realistically, the best part of Werebear is the additional bonus for the just generic 10% damage reduction to everything. That is quite a good stat. I love damage reduction. You'll see it in a lot of places on my build. But frankly, the content didn't get hard enough to warrant it until pretty late in Nightmare tiers. So I'm very comfortable putting Werebear as my like towards the end instead of earlier. Realistically, as long as the stats match, you could swap these around in any order you want. You could also swap the boards in any order you want. This is the best one I came up with. And again, this last one, Constricting Tendrils, very questionable. Very questionable. If I was going to spend a lot longer on the Druid, I would absolutely min-max this further and spend hours doing pathing and trying to fix what I was going to do with my last 10 levels. But I want to play all the other classes. I can't just get stuck on Druid the whole time, and because then I won't know what to do in Season 1. So we're going to play everything. So we're doing a reroll, but Druid's been amazing. Everybody playing Pulverize, if you're really enjoying the Pulverize playstyle, change that over to one-hander and an offhand, and I promise you'll love it. Get some spirit cost reduction, some attack speed. You'll hit just as hard, but way quicker. Way quicker. And it's a lot more fun when you get that quick smoothness out of it. It went from feeling like slow, massive hit to just fast, massive hit. Way better. Absolutely love it. I'm still absolutely loving D4. So we're going to do some rerolls into some other classes, see what we can pull off with them. I believe we'll be touching on Necromancer next, hoping to make minions good. Probably not. That is all I have. I will see everybody next time. Goodbye. Because see number go burr. And what I'm hearing from what Diggs is having a problem with right now is that that's the right move. Just continue to pick them up forever because you might actually run out if you don't. Which I didn't think was ever a risk. I didn't think I was ever going to run out. I didn't think that was a thing. I was just like, well, it caps at 9,000. I should just keep picking them up until I get to 9,000. Turns out, possible to run out. Maybe you actually do keep picking them up. Can't choose not to pick them up, but you can though. You can just stop clicking on the ore.
Wouldn't have made it without you.
Wouldn't have made it without you. You're a saint.
Next time back, I can come carrying to 90. No, get out of my party. It's a better clip if you're not in it. Super rope stars to scavenge every weapon and jewelry because they seem to be the only things that salvaged into it. Yeah. Woo! Level 90. We're there. I tell you what, though, I am enjoying Druid so much that if we had more time, I would probably keep leveling this class to 100. This is probably what I would come back to level to 100 if we have time. I mean, I haven't played enough classes yet, so we're going to have to re-roll because I want to play a little bit of everything. But oh man, is Druid fun. I don't even need to stay here though. I'm done.